Good morning, welcome back to the Panda YouTube channel. It's Saturday the 20th of June and it's the first Saturday in, should we say, a very long time where we can look forward to going back to FPL. Been fantastic last couple of days. I know some of the games have been a little bit hit and miss, but to have football back on has been an absolute top draw, and with the championship happening today, it's going to be an absolute action-packed day. Really looking forward to going ahead. Just quickly as well, last night should have been the Euros England at Wembley. But I'm not too despondent about that. We've got the Premier League today, so it's just kind of put it back next year. In these troubling times, it is what it is. Yeah, it's great they've got the football back on. I've actually really enjoyed it. The crowd noise scenario on Sky hasn't been anywhere near as bad as I thought it'd be. Would have quite enjoyed listening to Roy Keane instead, but that would have been quite amusing. But I'll touch on that later on. But all in all, everyone, Twitter's back really popular. There's a lot more interaction going back on. People seem to be a lot more, should we say, positive now football's back on. You see a lot less political tweets, and I'm not saying that's about that's right or wrong, but everyone's just kind of taken kind of got back on. It's kind of united people again, and obviously with Rashford and the school dinners, you have to say this. Football definitely does has a massive positive influence on the majority of the population that are in terms of interested in that. It's kind of brought people back together a little bit. There's not as much mudslinging going around and stuff. So yeah, it's been really positive. Just going to review the games really quickly, and then I'll talk about my fantasy team. So obviously the Sheffield United Villa game with the goal that wasn't given, should we say, due to the goal line decision system not being whether it was on or off or wasn't functioning. And what was disappointing for me in that whole scenario is, and I said this at the time when it was brought in, Hawkeye, you might as well have robots on the pitch, because referees are going to rely on technology now. They're not ever going to make a decision. They're going to look down at their buzzer. Well, it couldn't have been in because the buzzer didn't go. That was the example that was used. Now, a linesman's on the pitch to look across down that, right? And you can see straight away it must have gone in. There's no way, I don't deny that, wouldn't take any excuse that he didn't see that go in. So he's then got to turn around and say, hang on, that's gone in, and wave the flag. If he waves the flag, the game stops. Okay, and in that moment, he can then get VAR, the ref can get VAR in his ear and make out, did I miss the goal? Job done. Goal given, and then Sheffield United get, I couldn't see Villa scoring the way the game was going, really. Dean Henderson played well, but they weren't that threatening. And that could have been the total difference between them getting the Champions League spot or Europa League spot or not being any of the two. It just seems they've got all these tools, and when one doesn't work, they don't seem to know what to do with them. They seem to know. VAR could have just literally, the ball took another, I think it was about a minute and a bit before it went down the other end for a corner. So surely someone at Stockley Park saw, hang on a minute, that's gone in. Why don't we stop the game at this corner? Because they stop it for the foul last night with Byron and Bruno Fernandes. They stopped the game, they give the penalty, and they waited. It took half the time to realise that had gone in for that goal for Sheffield United than it did to realise Fernandes didn't get the contact and go down for the penalty. So there's no excuse for me in that department from anyone. And if it did come up at half time saying goal when they reset the system on his watch, it makes it a bit of a farce. And Hawkeye get £2 million a season for providing this service. It's the first error, I'll give them that, but £2 million, it's a lot of money, isn't it? So yeah, in terms of the game itself, Dean Henderson's 11 points. I mentioned him in my team, but Sheffield United, I thought they looked the same old Sheffield United. To be fair, there was not much different about them. Not sure about Billy Sharp myself. I thought it was a bit hit and miss, but they're going to have a big chance. Obviously, Newcastle going to be quite a tough game coming up. I think Newcastle are going to have a bit of run, and Bruce has got to fight for his job. And some of them players have been coming out supporting him. But Villa, Villa, you take Grealish out of the side. I'm still not having them really. I think they're going to go down. Samatta, is he going to play up front? He put him on the bench, he brought him on, didn't really do anything. The young lad up front, he was the cost that he pushed his keeper in his own net. Yeah, who knows with Villa? Who knows? Yeah, on to the next game, Man City, Arsenal. They're the same old Arsenal. I don't know why people keep getting their hopes up every break. Oh yeah, we've got this, we've got that. You haven't. You've got no one. Aubameyang needs players around him. Well, obviously when it ran to 10 men, he had to go out wide left, so it was never, and be really pinned back deep from the fullbacks of Man City. But that was always going to be the case anyway. I always felt, the reason I put two Arsenal players in was for that Brighton game, and that they both would get over 60. So I'm looking at even to get 4 points off Saka for the value that he cost. It was kind of, well, I could try and get my points elsewhere, but I'll talk about that in a second. But the actual game itself, Arsenal, I felt there was nothing new. David Luiz has been poor for a very long time, and I've actually said it since the World Cup in Brazil when he walked back and then he walked back and watched the Germans score, and he was crying at the end of the game. For me, that's a massive character red flag. If that game meant so much that you were crying at the end, why would you not be sprinting back in? Because the actual rebound that fell twice, I think it's the closer who scored, he could have got there, but he walked back and he's moaning, and that's that characteristic. they're stuck with him all the way through his career. And Arteta, there's no way Arteta, I can't believe you put him back on there. There's got to be a player. Arsenal spend millions of pounds on their academy. There has to be a player in that team better that who's got more scope going forward than a 32-year-old David Luiz out of contract. I don't understand that myself. Then going to last night, I said it on one of my tweets a few weeks ago. The Norwich lovers, for me, I don't understand. They're bottom for a reason. They're not very good. They're going to lose to Southampton. And the reason I thought they would lose to Southampton, I watched the Southampton-Chelsea game back at Stamford Bridge when Chelsea went, opened the game up a little bit and tried to go for the 3 points because they were doing quite well at home. And Southampton really played really well on the counter-attack and used the speed of Obafemi and Redmond really well. And watching that game back, I thought that's going to be that's going to be identical to Carrow Road. Norwich have got to try and win. They're going to leave themselves exposed because the fullbacks like to go. Cantwell, forward attacking player. Pukki's going to be up. They're going to have. There could be an overload on the counter attack for Southampton, but it didn't really happen that way. Norwich just looked really, really poor. Just didn't look like a Premier League team. They kind of resound to the fact they're kind of going down. I think there's a few players in that team probably know they're going to get a move out of there. I'm going to stay in the Prem. There's a few there that think, well, in a minute I can still try and get that, but they know they're probably going to have to play in the Championship next season. So they kind of just looked disjointed, and I didn't really know what the game plan was from Farke. And the first goal for me, what a finish, but there's 5-6 men around the box who just waiting for each other to make a decision. Really poor. So I always felt there'd be a Southampton win last night, and it's proven right. And then obviously the Man U Spurs game, typical Mourinho type of performance. I have to say Man United, when they brought Pogba and Ighalo on, much, much better. I really like Ighalo. I think he does a lot as the number 9. I think, Martial, it gives you one type of option, but Ighalo gives you another type. But Ighalo really kind of just gives centre-half a bit of a nightmare, really. I wouldn't mind playing against Martial if I was a centre-half, the way he kind of plays. As long as you keep aware of where he's going across you, when he runs across you, you're kind of safe. Whereas Ighalo, he backs up into you, dangerous from crosses. There's a few crosses last night United put in, and no one was really going to attack, whereas I feel like Ighalo may be that option that could provide some sort of attack in the box. But for me, it was Pogba that kind of come on, and he didn't really break as many lines as I hoped watching him from midfield going forward. But when he did make that decision to take Dyer on, didn't he make him look silly? Took him to the byline, fake back inside. Dyer looked like he was in gear, in reverse. He couldn't transfer any weight. Got down too low, and it was over. Pogba, a little bit of magic. That's what he can provide. And I think Pogba with Fernandes together, you have to say Man United could be absolutely sensational in the middle there in terms of where they've been. I'm not saying they'd be Man City or Liverpool, but in terms of where they've been over the years. They could be a lot better, and obviously I don't need to speak much about Fernandes. Everyone saw the game; he's their best player by far at the moment. That pass into Martial, he drove it inside with a little dummy, absolutely top draw. And you never felt he was going to miss that penalty. Myself, the way he lined up, took the double step, didn't stop as much as the one in the friendly against West Brom, and just drove it in the bottom corner. He's been a fantastic signing. And one player I can't keep looking at from Man United, from Leicester, who I keep thinking he'd be brilliant, man, is Ndidi. I think Ndidi and behind them two would be absolutely superb. And I'm not sure about McTominay still, and I'm still not sure about Matic. And Matic is kind of advancing years, but Ndidi, imagine him just roping around, and clearing up for them. It'd be absolutely phenomenal. But so Man United. In Tottenham's case, I think Tottenham didn't learn anything really new apart from Harry Kane's not ready. Obviously, it should have been the Euros last night, like I said earlier, and there's no way Harry Kane could have been playing for the Euros. You'd have to say, out of all the strikers, probably Danny Ings would be playing for England last night. So Harry Kane, for me, he looked really off it. Lloris, I thought Lloris played really well, but other than that, the Spurs, I'd be kind of waiting to see another 2 games. I think maybe Son's always dependable, I suppose, in terms of his energy and work rate, and has that ability to open a game up. So West Ham next game, I think Son could be an option, but I would be just careful on people like Harry Kane, etc. to start going forward. So that's covered most of the games. So what I do now is just go over to my team. As I was on bench boost, will that scroll down a little bit more? Just scroll down. Just make that a bit bigger. Just move that over there quickly. Just a little bit of maintenance so you can see the bench boost at the bottom. Let's just move that there. Okay. So that is where I'm roughly at this week. So Henderson in goal with 11, absolutely fantastic. He's going to get save points. I always felt he was going to get save points, even if he didn't keep a clean sheet. But to keep the clean sheet with the save points sets you really good setting for the week. Same with Baldock. Baldock gets forward, so does Evan Stevens. So for me, I was never too worried if they get the clean sheets. I do kind of feel they'd offer something. But to get the clean, that was 17 from the 2. Swansea today, just because he's guaranteed starter. Van Dijk guaranteed starter with Willy Bolly because of the money. Cheap. I used to have Doherty and I would be going back to Doherty on wildcard, but the way that it worked this week, I wanted Aguero at the top. I couldn't afford Doherty to slot in, so I've gone with Bolly. And 4.5 million is going to, if they get the clean sheet, fantastic. But you get a bit of a goal threat from corners as well. De Bruyne, could it be the error that I didn't cap him and went for Aguero? Who knows? But don't need to say much about KDB. He's absolutely phenomenal. Pogba come off the bench for the 4. Shame he didn't play longer, to be fair, because I think he'd have got more points than that. Redmond, obviously, as I said, was my, if you follow me on Twitter, was my 0.6% gamble, and it's 9 points. You'd take that every day of the week. To get 13 from Redmond and Pogba last night, was considering one only played 15 minutes and 13, 6.5 average. Absolutely delighted with that. Pushed me up to about 71 points. That did last night, so it's brilliant. Saka 2, as I explained earlier, was just literally my fodder to get 2 games. Bangham's obviously disappointing, but I'm hoping he can recover that with the Brighton game. And Aguero being capped 4, like he said, he played, how long did he play? 10 minutes, I think it was, 11, maybe a little bit more. Hit the post, should have scored. Had another top opportunity, if he starts against Burnley, that figure would definitely certainly be going up into hopefully a bit more double figures in terms of hopefully hitting the 20s potentially. That'd be my aim there, to try and get 6 to get to 12 to 20. That'd be delightful, minimum. Edison, don't need to explain more about Edison. If you've watched my previous videos over the last season and a half, you'll know about my love for Edison and the passes that he plays. Of course, he nearly had 2 assists, phenomenal. Norwood had the goal. I think it may have been an assist. I think it may have gone down as an own goal, to be fair. But, set piece taker, absolute no-brainer with their fixtures. Target was a very welcome surprise. I wasn't sure about what to do with Villa play. I explained Villa. I thought they were going to do poor, etc. But I always kind of felt, well, if I could get Target in, because he does go forward, and the way the cost was working out, I thought, well, if you can get a clean sheet, rob a clean sheet of 1 with him, but if you can just get 2 performances of 2 and 2, and maybe get an assist somewhere, and maybe get it to 7, or even if you conceded against Chelsea and got a 5, 6, whatever, I'll be winning. But to get that 6 in the first game, I was absolutely delighted with that choice. Obviously, they could concede 2 against Chelsea, and you could be down. You could get a -1 +1, so you get to 7. But anything above 4, I'd have been delighted with a Target. Hopefully, he can stick with that. Don't get sent off. And Jordan Ayew, that was my swap for Samata. Obviously, FPL Rockstar always gives great advice out in terms of team selections. And as it came out at the last second that Samata was on the bench, I quickly flipped him out and put Jordan Ayew in just because I fancy Palace away at Bournemouth. I don't think Bournemouth is that good in all the surrounds of Ryan Fraser at the moment. I wouldn't want to take them on too much there in terms of how they are doing in terms of their league position and all the chaos that's happening with him. So yeah, that was roughly where my team kind of fell towards this week. Obviously looking ahead, I'm hoping the Aguero captain is going to be the one that really rockets my rank. Just scroll that back up so you can see the points. So yeah, so 71, average for, obviously not many people have logged back on, so it is kind of tainted that the jump, my overall rank was about 529,000, now up to 361. Obviously a lot of people haven't logged back in, so it's a little bit tainted. Out of 7.5 million, crazy amount of players. But, considering my season this year was such a bad start, I was fighting all the way to Christmas to try and get out at the bottom of everything. So to get myself back to 361, it's an absolute, I've had as much joy chasing this back to as high as I can than I had last season, trying to stay in the top 1,000 when I was in, 2,000, 1,600 all season. Got to 600 and then dropped back out, and then a Trent 90th minute assist to Mane knocked me out from 600 to 1,408 I finished last year. I've had as much joy though, not giving up on the 4.2 million up to 368,000 than I have keeping in the top 1k of the game. And that's what I kind of want to say before I move on. Just take whatever challenge you got from your team and just find some sort of motivation out of it, and you can still enjoy the game. Just because you've fallen back or you're not going to win your cash league, you can still get a lot of joy out of FPL. You just set yourself a little challenge every week. Well, can I get this points? Can I chase this person in my min league? Can I overall rank? Can I beat one of my worst overall rank? Can I beat my second worst overall rank? Can I beat my can I get my 5th best overall rank? There's always little ways you can find motivation to go and play. Going from there. So just going to go back onto some gaming rank 189. Yes, obviously it's a bit tainted, isn't it? High points there. So I'm hoping obviously this will be the first time we've done 100 club this season. Should happen. I can't see why it wouldn't now. Only need 29 from 13, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 in the captain to get 29 points. That should happen. Just have a quick look at the 30 plus Blitz League. Johannes Ari, 88. So yeah, obviously all these people are mostly active. So there's 25 people join the 30 plus Blitz League. All the best to everyone in there. Some good scores, 88, 84, 79, 79, 77, 77. Good. And just quickly go on to the Fantasy Panda League. And Tom Russell of Monkey Tennis is winning 18.99. I think he's 33rd overall in the world, 34th. So some really good, really competitive league. I can't believe I'm back near the top 1,000 to be fair. 1179. Madness, madness. So yeah, Tacticians League. Obviously, FPL Tacticians, real competitive league this is. 14th gets relegated, 8th and down, 15th downwards maybe. So there is a chance I can get back out of this. From where I was, I spent most of the league down here at 22nd, 23rd. Really struggling. I'm quite proud that I managed to close it back up a little bit, really. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I've got 8 weeks to really slam the hammer down. Stranger things have happened. It's not the biggest gap. So keep motivated to go through and get that back up. A few of my mini leagues there, nothing major. So yeah, so just going to go back to the fixtures. I've got the fixtures down the bottom right hand corner every time just so I can relay them. But just going on to this, just to the TV schedule, so Sky. No, I want to go back to 30 plus, please. So yeah, back there. So BT Sport first 2 games, and then Sky Sports for West Ham, and obviously BBC having Bournemouth Palace is fantastic. Giving them to watch that and normal coverage. I don't know which games I'm going to watch today. To be fair, I've got a few things on, and obviously with Championship football being back on, I've got links to that to watch live from my own devices. So I may have to watch a few Championship games with work, but other than that, tomorrow is going to be a great day. I think I may watch all 3 tomorrow, and obviously I'll watch Monday night. Just going to look towards next week. So if I go on my team, go back to my team. Obviously I've already played my wild card, and I've already took the price rise of a couple of players before they've gone up. This isn't how it's going to finish. This is a little brief look. I will be going heavy with the 2 Wolves. Obviously Patricio and Doherty. Patricio for me, save points, but Doherty attacking prowess, so the defensive clean sheets isn't the worry. But yeah, that's roughly what I'm looking at in terms of how I may set my wild card up. But obviously I haven't fully decided. I've still got a few million in the bank, so I need to sit down really next week after these games have happened, obviously. Going forward, but what I did was make sure I'd done that to ensure that I cover the price rises of Fernandez, Rashford that were going to happen going forward. So other than that, I think that's roughly what I'm looking for. So I'll just have a quick prediction of what I think is going to happen today. So I think Henderson will get at least 4 points. Baldock will get 6 points. I'm going to have another clean sheet. I'm going to go with that. So Henderson 6-4. Baldock may get 2 to 6 in that price range, in that points range. I fancy Leicester, so if we go with Swansea 6, Van Dijk will get 6, Bolly will get 2, Saka will get 2, Aubameyang will finally score, get 6, De Bruyne, oh God knows what happened with De Bruyne. Let's say he gets an assist and a clean sheet 6, Guerrero gets 2, 4, 8, 10. Hopefully some bonus, hopefully he gets that 12, like I said, get that 20 odd. Edison clean sheet 6, Norwood 2, Target 2, maybe 1 at home Chelsea, and RU gets 2, hopefully scores, gets 6. So you're looking, nothing too over top expectation wise, but if you can get an average of 4 per player, that'd give me another 40 odd points, 50 odd points, 52, 40, yeah. So that'd give me 120 odd. So that'd be more than happy with what that would be if I can get an average of 4 per player with my captain choice, which I don't think is well out of the realms of possibility. Going forward there. So what I'm going to do now, I'll just shut that link off. That window captured, yep. So I'll shut that link off, and what I'm going to do now is a new little thing that I've been working on is what I'm going to call talk the tweet going forward. So things that I've seen on Twitter over the weeks that make me a bit of topic discussion that I'm just going to bring forward and give my point of view or opinion or just agree with. So the first one is FPL Tactician, convincingly enough, after mentioning his league, about Richarlison. And I have to agree, I think Richarlison's a superb player, and he's baiting out Van Dijk. He certainly, after this Liverpool game, it's more than for me, him and Dominic Calvert-Lewin will be looking at in terms of Everton, with Ancelotti having a lot of time to really breed what they want to do. I know they haven't been training as much with football. A lot of these managers have these players on massive Zoom conferences doing loads and loads and loads and loads of video analysis on where they've been going wrong. And a quick read of Ancelotti's book, you know, the guy's an absolute genius at transferring his message across the players. So I wouldn't underestimate the fact of what Ancelotti's done over lockdown with his players in the slightest. So for me, Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin would certainly be high up on my list, and I could not agree more in terms of looking at Richarlison as one of your options for wildcard. There, so tweet 2. Marco FPL Lou on about keeping Burke. It's always one of those, isn't it? You know, the amount of times you think, oh, I should have kept him. A lot of people were saying this for Danny Ings. I think there's a lot of Danny Ings ones. It's all hindsight, isn't it? If we all knew, it'd be easy, wouldn't it? It'd be absolutely easy, this game. There's times it's going to bite you in the arse, and there's times you're going to think, for fuck's sake, I got it wrong. You know, if De Gea should make the simple save, then you wouldn't be saying it. But, you know, I did have a little giggle when that one came up. Fair play to you, Lou. And the next one, this is quite a big one for me. There's quite a few comments on this and stuff. And I'm going to go on to, not a rant, but I'm just going to explain the little things I think people don't realise in terms of where football is at the moment. So I saw a lot of Liverpool fans moaning, when I mean moaning, slating their owners for not signing Timo Werner from Leipzig. And when I mean slating, it wasn't, you know, and Benji came up with a great point, can I not be disappointed about not signing a player? But of course, you know, he put it across brilliantly, I'll give him that, about, you know, being disappointed about not signing a player, seeing when your rivals get them, I understand that, and he was right. But what I was trying to get at wasn't the people that were disappointed about not signing, the people that, you know, were calling it a fucking disgrace, basically, and saying they're going to, you know, hope that he scores and he runs to the director's box and winks at them and stuff, and then he's to get out the fucking club and all this. I just want to remind them that they've won a Champions League, they're about to win a Premier League. The owners hired Klopp, don't get that wrong. They sold Coutinho for a ridiculous amount of money and signed Van Dijk and Alisson from that, okay? And what people don't realise about football transfers is when you get paid, you don't get paid the full transfer. What you get paid is a percentage, which is obviously pre-agreed, and then you get given dividends of that transfer fee as it goes forward. And what most clubs do is when they sell a player, they then go and sign a player and match them dividends up. So the direct debit payment of that club goes on the same day or the day after. So it's not just simply as finding 50 million quid from the bank and going, here you go, here's 50 million quid. Most football clubs are run on future cash flow. So what they're going to get in the future. Well, we're going to get 16 million in the future, we're going to spend 14 million now and we're going to pay the wages. It's all going to fall in place in line with 60 million. 90% of football clubs are in debt, right? And when I mean debt, serious debt, that cash flow is less than what they're spending. So Fleetwood are an example. I think that's 21 million quid in debt. Obviously that money isn't coming now, so they're in serious trouble. So most of them spend more than they get in. The easiest way I can use an example is Portsmouth in 2008, 2009, 2010 were spending over 110% of their income on wages. Okay, now a club like Portsmouth had 20,000 fans, didn't turn over anywhere near the money enough in gate receipts. So once they Premier League money, you know, was spent, because you get given your Premier League money on certain dates, was spent, they had to then rely on bank loans, which every club uses bank loans. At the moment, how hard is it to get a bank loan in terms of in this climate? So these clubs aren't getting the support that they used to get, because obviously it's all offset traded on future income. So the Premier League have lost $1 billion in revenue rights. You divvy that out between the football clubs. You know what they'll do before is say, well, hang on a minute, we're going to get this so and so money from the Premier League on the 28th of June. We want to sign so and so on the 16th of June. Can we offset the debt of a lender from a club, a bank? That's what they used to do. And it happens all the time, and it will happen again in the future in the Premier League. But it's not the end of the world in terms of how football clubs are running in terms of business. Okay, so how could Liverpool go and spend that money with all their club staff on furlough? So anyone who's not in the first team is on furlough. How would you feel as a club member thinking, hang on a minute, all your staff are on furlough, but you're going to spend 50 million in terms of where the on a football player? It's just morally wrong. You can't physically do that. It's just criminal. And everyone keeps saying, yeah, but the owners are worth 5 billion. Okay. Most football owners don't have a pot to piss in. They're asset rich. So they own football clubs, they own certain businesses, but they don't have accessible funds. Okay, so what I mean by that is they can't just go and get 50 million out of the bank and give you 50 million quid. Yeah, I'm worth 5 billion, they may say, but they own the Red Sox, they own Liverpool. All their wealth is locked up in assets. So what they do is when they want to sign a player, like I just said, they get the bank loans or they find an investment or they use offset trade from other transfers and then use that. Okay, that's all gone. So they can't just get this million. It doesn't just work like that. Abramovich, yeah, he's got all this access to accessible funds. We all know that. But most clubs don't. Just because your owners have got 5 billion in assets, everyone says, oh, you've got 5 billion, it's worth 5 billion. It doesn't work like that. Football does not work like that. Businesses doesn't work like that. Hence why loads of these businesses are struggling like mags. Virgin, Richard Branson's money is all locked up in certain assets and certain trusts, etc. You can't get it out. So yeah, I think people are being very harsh on terms of wanting the owners dead and all this stuff. I think it's madness. But just quickly going back to the Football League, you may have noticed on there about what club I work at. I'm currently on furlough as a football coach in academy. And people don't know if they're going to have jobs to go back to. There's going to be football clubs. They'll be lucky to be 72 Football League clubs in a few weeks' time. There is just no money there. As I said, I've just mentioned about cash flow. In the Football League, it's even worse because the money coming in isn't even there. They're relying on basically heavy debt every season to be extended. That isn't going to get extended. So, I'll be very surprised if all 72 teams in the Football League make it through without serious support from either the Premier League or the government or whoever's got accessible funds. But why should the government bail them out right now? This is a debate I'm going to have and keep debating. Why should the government bail people out? Football clubs, they've been so mismanaged for so long and they've wasted so much money. This should be hopefully the awakening of football clubs. Hang on a minute, we can't overspend our means anymore. We've got to start having things in reserve. And some do. Some don't get wrong. Some clubs do that, but there's a lot that don't. I'm hoping this is kind of a rebirth of sensible finances in football. And back in the 90s, Alan Sugar said it best about how football clubs, when the Premier League got their second TV deal, that they should save the money for rainy days or build better youth facilities for the communities, etc. But no, they get Leeds chairmen, etc., all voted in to give it to, they want to spend it so it can be more competitive, which is great at the time. But when you look back now, you think, hang on a minute, all that money's left the game. It's gone into players, it's gone into agents. And don't get wrong, players, they earn the money that they earn. It's not their fault. I'm not going to blame them. They can do what they like with their money. But if you took 10% off the player wage budget right now and you had it in reserve, how much money would you have in reserve? Do you know what I mean? So it is a catch-22. But I just kind of wanted people to remember, there's a lot worse problems out there than you can play, and your owner's not signing a player. If you're really that desperate, you haven't signed a player and you want your owner's fucking dead, go and look at a Football League club, or even worse, go look at some of your non-league clubs at Conference South, or your Step 5, your 6s, your 7s, and go and have a word with them. Because they're going to need you more than ever. If you think supporting Liverpool from 300 miles away is a problem, go to your local club and spend 2 days down there. Go and watch a game down there and realise how they're going to struggle, because it's all going to be gone. Football pyramid is absolutely on life support. So you've got to get your head out your fucking arse if you're moaning about fucking 50 million, 60 million pound players and all this fucking Get a grip. Get a grip. The Football League pyramid, my granddad, your granddad, anyone's granddad in this country knows, great granddad knows about, is on its fucking arse and nearly dead. Okay? Get out, find out about these things, and you'll realise, hang on a minute, what on earth was I fucking moaning or worried about a 50 million pound player? That's all I'm going to say on that matter before I get too angry about it, okay? If you want to talk about that, just drop me a message and I'll explain further, because I've got thousands of cases about what happens in football. So yeah, I'm going to leave it on that tweet. Last tweet 4. Just go back a bit more light-hearted. FL Pingree, I paid good money to replace the fake crowd noise in second half. 100%, I couldn't stop laughing when Roy Keane was off on one. I thought he was going to knock Ever out over the table. When he said he'd catch that, he'd save that, I was pissing myself. And yeah, when he said he'd be swinging punches and someone needs to be swearing in the changing room, one of the funniest things I've seen in a while. It did have quite a little bit of a laugh, and take the crowd noise off and Roy Keane commentating would have been quite funny, wouldn't it, going forward. So yeah, I'm going to end the video on those tweets because I've just chatted for quite a while about quite a lot of info. I will do another video ready, obviously the next game week, but I'm going to say, to end on, I'm going to say we'll go with a Leicester win, an Arsenal win, a draw at West Ham Wolves, score draw that would be, a Palace win, Sheffield United score draw, and a Chelsea win to 0. Yeah, okay. So all the best going forward in Game Week 30 plus, and take care. See you soon. Cheers.